Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we head to Market Raisin and learn more about their proposed expansions to the town trail. We take to the streets to find out your opinions on the report which says Humberside police arrest rates have dropped. And we head to Grant Thorold in Grimsby to check out the new community hub. We'll also delve into Hull's untold history, speaking to an author from Hull University. Plus, it's Friday, and that means all the sports news ahead of the weekend. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Emma Lingard. Now, many towns in the Lincolnshire Wolds have long and varied histories. Recently, Market Raisin's history was brought to the forefront thanks to the efforts of the Race Heritage Society, which created the Market Raisin Heritage Trail. Now they want to expand the walk to include more sites and people and to take it online, as Dave Nunn went to find out.
Like many towns in the Lincolnshire Wolds, Market Raisin is steeped in history that not many people may know about. That's why a local group in the town set up the Market Raisin Heritage Trail.
Well, the trail started because every so often we do projects and we started to research various buildings and people in town. There's a lot of history in town and people tend to forget what's there and perhaps don't even know as that people have come into town. So we started a project where we started writing about things like the railway station where we are now, which is a Grade 2 listed building, and various other buildings in town that should have their history known but don't.
The group running the Heritage Trail were approached by the Market Raisin Business Improvement Group to take the tour onto the web as a virtual tour, with users being able to call up information on their smartphones regarding certain buildings. Hazel says the Mr Big organisation's help has been vital in getting the virtual tour up and running.
Amateur historians, we don't know anything about the way the media works. We're not very good at the Facebook era yet. We're learning, but they obviously knew how to do that, and so we sourced funds through the Heritage Lottery, All Our Stories, and we were successful. And so we started to put together the stories we knew of the town, and then we asked the people to vote for them through the Raisin Mail, which is a very old paper in town. We asked them to vote on a list of 20 topics, which were the top 10 they'd like us to research. And we got a fairly resounding response, and with clear indicators of which buildings they wanted us to talk about. So having that, we went off to research them. We also researched individuals. There's some important individuals were born here that no one knows about. And so the project moved on from there. So we passed on to Sarah and her team the stories, and then they put together this tour.
The tour has been a great success, drawing in visitors to Market Raisin from all around the country. Now the tour is expanding. There are plans to include many more buildings for people to learn about, and the stories of soldiers from Market Raisin who fought in the First World War have been included in the tour.
And it's been very successful, and we've won 3 awards from it over the years. And then end of last year, we put together a exhibition in the library describing the lives of some of the soldiers who'd gone off to World War I to commemorate, as everybody was doing, the starting of World War I. We're not just the people who are unfortunately named on the War Memorial, but people who actually came back as well and how it affected their lives. So we placed them in the context of where they were born, what their families did, and what they did when they came back, plus the few unfortunates who didn't. And we put that display in the library, and that was well received. And Sarah contacted me and said, look, there's a small bit of funding left. Would you like to add those to the virtual tour? And we thought that's an appropriate thing to do, bearing in mind the time of year we're at.
Hazel hopes 2016 will see continued expansion for the tour and educate more people about the unknown history of Market Raisin.
After taking on Humberston Library last January, the not-for-profit organisation Your Community Hub has taken on another site in need of revival. Grant Thorold Library was in danger of closure, but now Nathan and Melissa Taylor have taken over, looking to kick on from their success in Humberston, offering more than just books. Dan Kemp went to meet them.
After many months of campaigning, the new venue is now open. It offers your more traditional library fare, books and computers, but also brings in a retailer and dining experience. Nathan Taylor is a director of Your Community Hub.
getting kids involved with books from an early age, i.e. up at Humberston, the Gingerbread House, we utilise baby yoga facilities, so children from as young as 12 months upwards are doing baby yoga in the children's area. So they're already they're already participating, picking up books. Okay, they might just be looking at a few pictures, but they're touching, feeling the books there. So that's important, to get children engaged with books from an early age.
And Nathan is delighted with the interest already being shown in the latest venture.
We've invited a number of people here. As you can see from behind me, we've got quite a large turnout, a bit more than we anticipated. This is just about a consultation between now, probably up until Easter, about gathering what people want to see developed in this community hub. We know they will want a library service. We know that from the findings from North East Links Council. We know they want a retail space. We know they want a cafe space. But we just need to know a bit more detail about whether they actually want a tea room, do they want a coffee lounge, what type of cafe facility, refreshment facilities, what type of retail space do they want to see. We also want to know what community group activities they want going on, baby yoga, kinetics, all them sorts of bits and bobs as well that we really need. It's important for us to understand what they want before we start bringing them services in.
And Councillor Steve Bazant has big plans for the site and the park the community hub currently stands in.
What I've talked about is a pocket park on the perimeter as such, a nature environment for the youngsters to really explore nature as such. Hopefully, who knows, in a few years' time, the social enterprise might be taking over the full park and there might be a different feel to the park as such. We might have a small farm out there we might do, or something where the youngsters can come and really explore nature as such, because it's one of the most deprived communities in the UK. I'm not really ashamed of that, but we're going to turn it into a positive as such.
You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, we find out your opinions on the report which says Humberside police arrest rates have dropped. And we delve into Hull's untold history, speaking to an author from Hull University. And we'll have all the sports news ahead of the weekend. Joining me now to discuss this week's news is Dan Kemp. Dan, we've had a busy week.
We have.
Rather, I don't say the exciting things going on, but certainly...
Exciting's the wrong word.
Yeah, it is the wrong word, yeah.
Some serious things going on as well.
Serious things going on.
Well, I'll start off. The first story is in the Hull Daily Mail. This is a playing field which is going to double as a floodwater storage area.
Okay, whereabouts is that?
It is Dane Park Road, which is it's in the Orchard Park area, kind of North Hull. And they've said that later this month, city councillors are going to get together to agree in principle the decision of what to do with the land as to make it into a part of a water storage unit, which is going to, as part of a £20 million flood alleviation scheme to protect the homes on Orchard Park and Cottingham.
So just to clarify, when they say they're going to make it into a floodplain, that land will actually be allowed to flood with water.
Yeah, that's
basically.
Exactly it. Yeah. It's going to continue there as a sports and recreation area as well. Of course, it's in the wake of the big floods in 2007 when that area got hit massively. It didn't quite get the coverage in the national news that some other areas did, but it was obviously a significant issue then. 4,255 homes were hit, and now this is one thing to do about it.
I was going to say, I mean, obviously flooding has been in the news in recent weeks because of what's been suffered elsewhere in the country. And I think going back, most places had floodplains because it was known that those areas flooded and they were left for that reason. But housing being built on those areas has compounded things.
Well, there's some areas near where we live in Brough as well that they've built thousands of houses on floodplains, and at some point the Humber's going to kind of burst its banks. In this case, of course, it was more the drains in North Hull and the River Hull as well. And it's just a horrible concoction of things that can come together.
Exactly.
And you need to protect against it.
Okay, so that's something that's on the cards to happen. Okay,
yes,
right. Next story.
The next story, this is that Castle Hill will be the first in the world to get new cancer-fighting technology. So this is another good news story for the area. East Yorkshire is going to be able to offer patients the new technology. The Daisy Appeal has signed a deal with global firm GE Healthcare to bring the first of a new generation of cyclotron to Castle Hill Hospital.
What will that actually do then? How will it be used, and what is it, first of all?
Well, I can tell you the scientists from the University of Hull are going to use isotopes to develop new radioactive markers yards away from the scanning centre. giving
Okay.
patients the best chance of survival. Now, I don't know much more about it than that. I don't pretend to be an expert. I think we need to get a doctor.
Look into.
I think we need to
get
get a doctor
on. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not the right
so
person.
is it like a big machine?
Yes,
that you'll be
that's
put
exactly what
into
it
and
is. Yeah.
scanned?
Yeah. At the end of this, that's what it is. But it's going to be a first for the country, and Hull's leading the way.
Okay, that's quite exciting because I know most people know somebody or have been affected by somebody that's had cancer.
Yeah, of course.
And so many people give to charity each year to find these. So yeah, I think that's something for the Estuary team to look
now
into.
at the forefront. The next story, this isn't a Scunthorpe Telegraph.
Okay.
It won't surprise you to know that maybe there needs to be a sports story in this news talk. And what better excuse than Scunthorpe United this weekend? Obviously, we'll talk about it in the
I'm sure you
sports
will
bulletin later on.
Yeah, but go on, hit me with it.
They're in the. They've got to the FA Cup. They're in the FA Cup
They
third round.
haven't.
They have.
Have they?
Yeah, it is.
Never
It's
guessed that.
breaking news I'm hearing. Scunthorpe United are in the FA Cup third round. It'll be in our sports bulletin later on, but obviously it's a fantastic opportunity for them to go and play at Chelsea 11 years since they lost 3-1 there at the same stage of the competition.
So join me after the break when we find out your opinions on the report which says Humberside Police arrest rates have dropped, and of course we'll have all the latest sports news and results. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we find out your opinions on the report which says Humberside Police arrest rates have dropped. And of course, we'll have the sports news from across the region ahead of the weekend. But first, Far Horizons, a book written by Dr. Rob Robinson from Hull University, explores the events that have helped shape the city's history. Events that people are often unaware of. Now the book is being reprinted for the City of Culture celebrations. Dave Nunn went to delve a little deeper.
When people think of historical figures from Hull, the first names that pop into their heads are ones like William Wilberforce and Amy Johnson. One local academic argued that there is a lot more to Hull than those names, so wrote a book, Far Horizons, which is being reprinted this year.
Well, the book Far Horizons is really a biography of Hull people and ships and their global impact. The reason I wrote this book, and it originally came out in 2010, was because I'd got rather frustrated. In the sort of late 90s and early part of this century, we seem to have turned our back on the sea in Hull and the area. And I remember going to a presentation about pioneering Hull, and the sea got a couple of mentions, and I thought, this is wrong, this is why we're here. So I went away and started doing proper research for the book.
With City of Culture on the horizon, Dr. Robinson wants people to see the hidden history of Hull that many people may not know about, and emphasise the strides and changes people from Hull have made that have helped shape the modern world.
I think it's changing. When I first wrote this, my argument would have been we were very good at doing Wilberforce. You might get a bit of Amy Johnson, you might get a bit of Andrew Marvell, and you might get a bit of Philip Larkin. But that was about it. And whereas we're much more multidimensional than that. And I think that since then, people have picked up with things and run. And I like to think that this book played a modest part in helping that change in perceptions that's come about with City of Culture and everything.
Examples of famous Hullensians talked about in the book include Sir John Hall, former Prime Minister of New Zealand, who took an active interest in women's suffrage and led New Zealand to be the first country in the world to give women the vote.
Yeah, I mean, how many people know that Sir John Hall, the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, was the man who, for over 20 years, pushed for New Zealand to give women the vote. And New Zealand, thanks to his help, was the first country in the world to give women the vote. The first step in emancipating half the world's population. From Hull, and not many people know that tale. Or, for example, Gassy Jack Dayton, the man who founded Vancouver. He's from Hull. Go wherever you go in the world, and you'll find, you can cover stories of people and ships from Hull and their global impact.
Dr. Robertson says he has enough material for another book, and with City of Culture on the horizon, he says it's important for the people of Hull to learn about the global impact their city has had upon centuries of history.
Yeah, I'd say look into it because if you look back in time, you'll see that when Britain was the world's leading maritime nation. Hull was its third port. It's always been of global significance, and it's Hull's unique selling point, and it's something that we really should relish and build on.
And if there's a story you'd like us to look into, then you can contact the news team either through the Facebook or Twitter pages, or email news@estuary.tv, or call Grimsby 01472 315 553. So do let us know what's happening in your area. Well, Humberside Police reports one of the biggest percentage drops in the country when it comes to the number of arrests made. Official figures for 2013-14 shows there were 19,284 arrests. For the same time period between 2014-15, there were 15,851. Now, the Police Federation has warned this may be down to cuts to budgets across the country. We asked people in Grimsby Town Centre what they thought.
I think they should be arrested for, where the crime they've committed, and they shouldn't let them off so easily.
Yeah, obviously it's a good thing for the town and that, you think, yeah. I can't see it being a bad thing, like.
I think people aren't reporting them. I think there's still as many crimes, but it seems a waste of time to report them. The police don't do anything.
People don't bother phoning because they don't respond. Just send you a crime number and that's it. Unless, well, I'm not going to say anymore.
Well, I don't know how to answer that really, because it seems to be widespread, doesn't it? And there's not a lot you can do, like.
It's good news if it doesn't mean that if it's not because police numbers have fallen. Yes, yeah, so there's fewer policemen to arrest people, but it's difficult to know without knowing what's behind it.
Well, I suppose that's good, really. If it's fallen, it's better for the community, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah.
I don't think much of the Humberside police at all, so I ain't got much time for him.
I don't believe that there's less crime at all. Never have. I don't think there's enough force on the ground, police in uniforms on the boots and keeping it away from what actually happens. And they miss a lot out. There's not enough punishment at the end of the day. Punishment is sparse. It's a joke, really.
I mean, I think there's been quite a few incidents when people haven't been called out to, that sort of thing. But I think these cuts aren't good anyway. I'm about to lose my job soon. And, a lot of people just haven't got the money.
There's nobody to convict them, is there? Nobody to catch the burglars or the killers or anything. That's the reason why it's gone down.
Still with me looking at this week's news is Dan Kemp. Dan, what other stories have you found?
Thanks for having me back.
Can't get rid of you.
Well, yeah, the next story is that Bridlington South Landing Beach has been nominated for Beach of the Year.
Okay.
Which, that's another good news story
that
for our area.
That is, yes. Yeah. We need more awards.
Countryfile Magazine Awards for 2015-16 in their 5th year, and experts in the field have drawn up a list of nominees, a short list, from all sorts of areas up and down the UK. Bridlington joins Pembrokeshire, Merseyside, Alderney, which is in the Channel Islands, and Wester Ross in the Highlands.
Bridlington is the only one on the East Coast.
Yes, it's the only one in our area.
Right, okay.
And that's obviously, brilliant news that our beaches are being recognised, because sometimes I think they get a bad reputation.
Yes, they have in the past, haven't they, when they've run out of that. Well, that's all we've got time for.
Not a problem.
Quick one, but you're going to stay there because you're going to bring some excitement now, aren't
Promise
you?
I won't move.
All right then. Now it's over to Dan with the sport.
We're now under 48 hours away from Scunthorpe United's FA Cup tie with Chelsea, as you've been hearing. The players will head down to London earlier than usual for an away game and are making use of Queen's Park Rangers' training base during their stay. Ahead of the huge third round tie, we caught up with manager Mark Robbins.
I think that watching them last week, they were really, really good against Crystal Palace last week, and they've got some world-class players. So we know we're up against it, but we want to go and enjoy it. We want to go and enjoy doing it, and whatever that takes and whatever that means, we have to go and do a job as professionally as we possibly can do, and as well as we can. I think when we have the ball, I think it's clear that we can't keep giving it back to the opponent, and we've just got to be as good as we can with that. But just go and enjoy it. There's no pressure. There's absolutely no pressure. Only the pressure, the professional pressure and pride that we have in each other and ourselves. And we want to go and put a good performance on for the supporters.
Hull City enter the competition at the third round stage and are boosted by the news that goalkeeper Alan McGregor has signed a new 2-year deal with the club. Here's manager Steve Bruce.
He's come back to the form and the goalkeeper that we know he's capable of, and I'm delighted that he's obviously committed himself to the club for another couple of years, which is good for us, and I'm hoping it's good for him too.
Grimsby Town Director John Fenty has dismissed speculation linking manager Paul Hurst with the vacant Notts County job. The odds on Hurst moving to County have shortened significantly over the last 48 hours, but Fenty says the interest shows the success he is having at the Mariners. Meanwhile, ahead of their game at Welling tomorrow, goalkeeping coach Andy Warrington has had his say on their opponents and the club's current run of form.
They were a good side at home. They've struggled of late. We played them not that long ago and a really good result against them. And it's a case of us going down there, and you know, you say that we've slipped up against guys there. We've been on a fantastic run, conceding 1 goal in the 6 games, and 6 wins on the bounce in the league. So, you know, optimism around the place is still really, really high.
So the fixtures in full for the weekend. Hull City host Brighton at the KC Stadium at 3 o'clock tomorrow. While in the same competition, Scunthorpe face the trip to Premier League champions Chelsea. Elsewhere, Grimsby Town are at Welling. It's first versus second in the National League North as North Ferriby United travel to Solihull Moors, and Gainsborough Trinity host AFC Fylde. Beverley tennis star Kyle Edmund is set to take up a career-high ranking after making it through to the quarter-finals of the Qatar Open, before eventually being beaten by world number 6 Thomas Burdick. Edmund was part of Great Britain's historic Davis Cup winning squad last December and is the current British number 3. And finally, some rugby union fixtures to look forward to. Hull Ionians look to stop their run of 6 consecutive defeats as they make the long trip to Plymouth. Elsewhere, Hull RAFC host Billingham and Scunthorpe are at home to Longton. And that's all for the sport.
Thank you, Dan. Well, that's it for tonight. If you have a news story, visit our Facebook or Twitter pages, or email news@estuary.tv, or phone Grimsby 01472 315 553. Until next time, good night.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Rix Petroleum, your local family-owned heating oil supplier this winter.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Saturday will be cold and cloudy with some heavy showers and highs of 7 degrees Celsius. Sunday cold with showers and there is a chance of some snow.
Rix, servicing the region's oil boilers this winter from a name you can trust. Get in touch at rix.co.uk or call us on 01482 838383.